an artist. Now what?
Right.
I know a lot of people, they have a goal or a dream and it's like, I want to work for this company or I want to work on this property. And it's like, it's rare that you're just going to shoot right out of school or whatever and do that right from the get-go. Like you're going to build up to it. And even then, like if you would have asked me, of course, I never would have imagined this is where my career would end up, that I would primarily be known for writing, that I would have worked on, you know, Dungeons and Dragons and the Avengers and Conan the Barbarian and Rick and Morty and Samurai Jack and like all these incredible titles that I know and love, you know what I mean? Like that still blows my mind, but it makes sense as things evolve. And I needed to have those initial dreams in order to motivate myself to keep going and push and do things. So even though I'm not doing, like in my original vision for my career, I thought I'd be like a Disney animator living in California or Florida, working on 2D animated films that were no longer in production by the time I graduated. You know, like I just got a very different vision of what my future could look like. And now I'm doing completely different things. I never imagined I would be a teacher. I never imagined I would be a writer. I never imagined I would have my name on the cover of a book, let alone like 60 books, like, you know, all that stuff. And yet having that original dream still mattered and it still motivated me. And, you know, the dream evolves and changes and grows. And as you have new experiences and open yourself up to new opportunities, you see new pathways that would never have existed if you didn't have the original dream. Like, it's not just about being a kid and saying, I want to be an astronaut, and then you go be an astronaut. Like, if that pushed you towards science, and then you find some other amazing career in science, that's a wonderful thing, or astronomy or travel, or who knows, like all the different things. Like the goal of being the astronaut kid is not the end goal necessarily of I'm going to put my feet on the moon, although that could end up happening. It's more about I'm motivated towards these broader goals. You know what I mean?
Right. Absolutely.
And that's kind of the way it's been for me in a lot of ways. And like I said before, all those things that I grew up on, games and comics and animation, still inform a lot of what I do, and constantly in unexpected ways. You know, like I've written more comics for Dungeons and Dragons than any other writer. And Wizards of the Coast, the guys that own Dungeons and Dragons, contact me and I do consulting for them based on my expertise as like my knowledge of old Dungeons and Dragons, because I grew up playing D&D in the early 80s, not the original D&D, but basically the one that really swept up and became very popular. And so, for example, I co-wrote the Stranger Things and Dungeons and Dragons crossover miniseries. And the reason why I was brought in is because I literally grew up playing D&D at the same time as the kids from Hawkins, Indiana in the show. So I know exactly what version of the game they're playing. I know the books that came out. I know I've got 100 little anecdotes about what we liked and didn't like and what was fun and what was stupid, you know, about those things, and can bring that to bear creatively when we're telling these stories. And so, but if you would have told, you know, 8-year-old me, keep playing D&D, kid, they're going to pay you a bunch of money for this, you're like, that's insane. Like, it doesn't make any sense, you know?
For sure.
Right. So